Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Clarissa Myers coming to you live. I'm back here in Richmond and back home. And I have been away for, well, just a week from you guys, but I went to the DMV, the Maryland, the Northern Virginia area. Um, I had an awesome time just visiting with family. I spent a little time celebrating my birthday, which I'm going to continue celebrating for the rest of this month. But I spent some time with my sister. My birthday is one day before hers, so they're so close together. Anyway, good morning. I've been away, and a few people sent me messages. Are you okay? You know, I've been looking for you, and perhaps they didn't catch my last live, which was not last Friday, but the Friday before. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. It's good to be back. Good morning, Arnold. Good morning to you. Let's see. Somebody else said, "Well, thank you, Sibyl. Thank you. I'm glad to be back." Hey, Diane. Good morning. Good morning, Albin. Good morning to you too. Thank you guys for joining me. So I'm always, I'm on this journey. First of all, I'm a spiritual entrepreneur, and I'm on my journey trying to make me the best me possible. And that's what we should all be doing because we can't stay stagnated. But then some of us get stagnated, we get stuck because of things that may have happened in our lives. And I learned a new word as I was preparing for this. But let me back up a little bit. Um, we all human beings. Hey, good morning, Ursula. Good morning. Oh, yes, you know what? Everybody who has a birthday, we all think our month is the best, but this is my month. And happy birthday to everybody who celebrates a birthday this month. All right, let me see if I can get back. Because we all human beings, one of the basic needs that we humans have is emotional support, emotional. We need to take care of our emotional health. I never really thought about it in terms of emotional hygiene. Are you practicing emotional hygiene? Like, what is that? Well, we have our physical bodies. As children, from the time we're like 2, 3, kids have a thing for band-aids. Doesn't matter what. Fall down, you get a boo-boo, you blow on it, kiss it. But if you put a band-aid on it, it makes it all better. Those are small minor injuries to our body, whether it's on a finger or whatever. And for more serious injuries, we consult a professional in medical attention. But do you know that our mind also suffers from emotional injury? And we don't think about it. We don't know the first aid to give to our mind. If I were to say, well, what's the first thing you do? Well, for a cut, you can say, oh, well, you gotta wash the area, clean it, then put some kind of antibiotic on that cut, that sore, and then you cover it to make sure no germs or bacteria gets in it to make an infection. So we know right away, okay, that's what you do if you get hurt or you're injured. And we learn those things as children growing up. But then, okay, your mind can also suffer emotional trauma or injury. And depending on how severe that trauma or that injury is, it can cause us to get stuck. And I was listening to a gentleman named Guy Wing. I'll go back and look for it. A guy, is it Wink? Anyway, he was saying, he's a psychologist, and he was saying that for minor injuries, we still, to our mind, that is, our brain, not brain, our mind, where we can think and process, there are some things that we must do to take care of it. We can suffer emotional trauma, but then we don't know what to do to fix it. And it could be from loneliness. Now, let's say a husband and wife mate or a special loved one or whatever, having that person no longer in your life I'm thinking back to my mother-in-law when my father-in-law passed away. She said, Reese, I had no clue I would be like this, alone. And do you know that loneliness, taken to an extreme, it can cause high blood pressure, it can cause high cholesterol, it can cause a whole lot of stuff. Let me see, what did I? Yeah, loneliness. There are a lot of negative effects on our bodies, but if your mind is already thinking in one way, you start punishing yourself. Oh, why did I do this? And then you start beating up yourself. If you got a cut or an injury to your arm or to your hand, and the cut maybe is superficial, okay, you put stuff on it to take care of it. But you're not going to get a knife and, oh, how deep can I make that wound and dig deeper? We don't do that. But we do that to our minds. We start blaming ourselves. We start having doubts about ourselves. And that takes us deeper into a rut where sometimes it's hard to come out from. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning. So loneliness, I put some notes here. It's a feeling of socially being disconnected from your loved one, from maybe wherever you were. You're just disconnected. And you can go deeper into deeper levels of that. Another thing, rejection. Whether maybe you are dating someone and for whatever they broke up with you, those are really deep-seated emotional trauma to you. And it's not something you can just say, okay, just shake it off. Shake it off. Really? You can't just shake it off like that. It's a process you have to go through. But what do you tell yourself when you're experiencing such anguish? The words that you speak to yourself can either take you deeper or it can lift you. And we as humans, we have to be more empathetic with others, as they're going through whatever. And we handle grief at different rates. Some people can get over it in a week, a month, or whatever. But some people will take a lifetime and maybe they never get over it. And listening to what the results that can come from the loneliness, from failure, the same thing. You can get high blood pressure. You can get your immune system becomes weakened because you're in this spiraling. It's like a treadmill. And there's a new term for that. It's not new, but it's new to me. It's called rumination. This is where whatever it is that happened to you, that trauma to your brain, you got stuck on a what do you call that thing? Like a hamster in a wheel. You're just playing it over and over and over and over in your mind and digging yourself deeper and deeper. And it's hard to break free from that. Good morning, Fiona. Good morning to you. So, and I'm going to save that for Friday to tell you some of the things to break free of that. What's the word? Rumination. Psychology is not my thing, but I'm learning things. And as I'm growing and as I'm developing, I share things that I've learned. Some of this maybe, this by the back of your hand. Good morning to you, Alexander. And it put me in mind of a time in my life, it had been some years before I even met Roland. I had gone to visit a friend of mine. She lived in Atlanta. She invited me to come and spend Christmas, one of my friends from college. And I said, oh yeah, well that would be great. I had a very special friend at the time who lived in the area. And he invited me to come and stay. But I said, it's not really kosher for, this is back in like 80s. And I went down there, but when I got there, somehow things had changed. One family was having visitors over, and there's not going to be any room. It was a mess. So when you have rejection, it can really, it's heart-wrenching. So anyway, I was able to get back to Chicago. My flight wasn't for 2 more days, and I stayed at the airport. because to change your flight, then you'd have to pay more money. And I was in college, I didn't have money. So I got back to Chicago, and for 2 days, I just stayed at the airport. Oh my goodness, around Christmas time, you think about families, you know, the love and the sing songs and carols and food, and I spent that whole 2 days at the airport. And because I didn't want anyone to know I'd been there that long, I would go in my locker. You know, they have this thing where you put your money in, where you can store your luggage or your stuff or whatever. And now you get a key. Well, I would go in there, change my clothes, and come back out, so it didn't look like I'd been sitting at the airport. And that thing, it just ate away at me. And it's because I kept it all to myself. I didn't want anyone to know because I was so ashamed and embarrassed. That's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. So my sister called me. We didn't have cell phones back in the day. No, I called her because I was at the airport. I probably could have called her and had her to come pick me up, but when you're feeling so low, you don't want to reach out to anyone. You want to keep it to yourself, and you think, well, nobody wants to be bothered with you, or nobody cares about you. And oh my. So thinking those negative thoughts can dig you deeper into a depression. Now, had I reached out to her earlier, she would come right away and pick me up. But because when you start thinking, oh, this person or that person, they don't want to hear your troubles or your woes. And so the point is, feed yourself positive words. Whether you suffered a failure, something that you really struggled with and you're trying to achieve, you know, guess what? Maybe this time it didn't work, but you keep trying. You offer yourself words of encouragement and upliftment. And as humans, we have to be empathetic. Well, I'm going to talk about some of the other things that we can do to help those who are around us, including ourselves, when we find ourselves into that rut. There are words that we can give to ourselves. Oh my goodness. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you, Auntie. My auntie's on. Glad that you can join me on. So, on Friday, I'm going to come back and share with you some of the other things that we can do when we get ourselves into a rut, so that we can continue on our journey becoming the best version of ourselves. We don't want to get stuck on that ladder and just like, okay, I'm not going any further. There are things that we can do to get unstuck. And what I do have in the description are some links, actually two. One is for our spiritual entrepreneur goal achievers, a group that I've started. I invite you to join, because I offer little tidbits that can help you, or in not only in your personal life, but in your business. I also have a link on there for a webinar that's being done tonight. It's a weekly webinar. I've gotten away from that, but has lots of good information. You do have to register, and I think there's a prerequisite if you need to look at a little video or something. And the third, this coming weekend in Chesapeake, there is going to be it's called Sustain Change Conference. It's for 17-year-olds and older, adolescents, and young adults, because sometimes they're not quite sure which direction they want to go in their lives. But there are lots of courses being offered on financing, budgeting, and a whole lot more. So that's what I wanted to offer you today. I will be back on Friday, where I'm going to share some more of what we can do to not only get ourselves unstuck, but help someone else who is getting stuck on their journey. Good morning to you, Imani. I appreciate you joining me. Glad that you can join me this morning. Mike Jacobs, good morning to you. Do me a favor, share this out, because you know what? Believe it or not, because we're human, we all encounter some of these failure, rejection, depression, loneliness. We all encounter that at some point in our journey. And the thing is, knowing what to do to support our emotional health is key, because that can keep you on that upward moving path. So that's what I have for you this morning. I encourage you to join me again on Friday morning at 8 o'clock, and I'll see you then. Be blessed. Bye now.